Guys, I didn't even know this. I thought it was already officially launched, but apparently Juicebox 54 fragrance, the fragrance I collaborated on with the brand, is not officially launched everywhere in the USA until today. I guess the only places that really were selling this physically was Lucky Scent and ZGO Perfumery, where we had events. Well, today it's selling everywhere, and I'm going to let you know a little bit more about Juicebox's 54 in this video. Also tell you about some discount codes and also two more events I'm doing for this fragrance on the East Coast, all coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Sebastian. We're talking about this most awesome fragrance that I created with Juicebox called 54. If you haven't heard about it, this is a fragrance I collaborated with the brand and perfumer Julien Rasquinet. We started working on this April of last year, and it officially launched at Harrods in August. And then now today is the official USA launch date for Juicebox's 54. I went down to LA and we did an event at Lucky Scent there. I hope you guys came. If you didn't get a chance to come and you're around the LA area, you've got four different locations you can go sample this. Of course, it's at Lucky Scent at both locations, Hollywood and DTLA. But I also visited Beverly Hills Perfumery and Scent Rhum. Both of those stores carry Juicebox fragrances. They did not have any 54 in stock when I was there. But apparently now that it's officially launched in the USA, you'll be able to get it in all of the stores. There's a few other stores in the USA also that well, of course, there's Perfumology, which didn't have the product, and I think there's a few other stores in the USA that carries Juicebox perfumes. They should all have the fragrances in stock now. You can physically go in and sample this fragrance. So I collaborated on this fragrance with Juicebox, and we created a really amazing fragrance, totally inspired by Studio 54, something that I was really curious to work on as a project, and I'm glad what we came up with is actually turning out to be something people are enjoying. And the cool thing is I've written down some notes. I wrote down to talk about compliments at the very end, but not only have I received compliments, I've received so many messages from people saying they get compliments from wearing this fragrance, which is awesome. I'm an oversprayer. It's a given that I'm going to get compliments. I'm not sure how these other people are getting compliments, but somebody wrote to me and said they were wearing the fragrance inside a Trader Joe's and they got a compliment, and people at various places that they've gone to receive compliments and so on. I've actually received a lot of compliments with this one. Again, as I said, I'm an oversprayer, but there were some really interesting dramatic reactions from people ending up really enjoying this fragrance. I'll talk to you about my compliments at the end of the video, but let me give you some details. It's a 2024 launch created by Julien Rasquinet. I work with Julien and of course the brand owners, Chiara and Andrea. I would call this a woody spicy fragrance or an amber woody fragrance, and it features notes of Pina Colada, Cardamom, Davana for top notes, heart notes, Saffron, chocolate accord, Nagarmotha, cinnamon bark. Finally, in the base notes, we've got rum, vanilla, sandalwood, patchouli, and tobacco. On me, it's patchouli, right? It's a pretty prominent note. The patchouli is pretty prominent. It turns to chocolate milk or milk chocolate on skin, and it's super creamy and lactonic. I've heard different things from some folks. I've heard dry, which I'm not understanding how they get dry from this, because the majority of people say it's very creamy and lactonic. Again, milk chocolate or chocolate milk comes to mind with this one. Just drinking it with a lot of chocolate in it. It's very milky and lactonic. We're getting that creamy, milky, lactonic effect from the Pina Colada, which has coconut. Also the sandalwood in here, which it tends to go creamy. And so some of the, vanillic notes in here as well create that effect. But in general, when I've spoken about patchouli in fragrances, I tend to say chocolate cake patchouli. Here it's more like chocolate milk patchouli. It is chocolatey, and they've added chocolate, Julien added chocolate in the notes, but on skin, it's more like chocolate milk, or even Easter bunnies, chocolate Easter bunnies, or Easter eggs that are milk chocolate as kids. It just totally takes me back to Easter and either breaking into a Easter bunny, chocolate Easter bunny, or an egg. That smell of the chocolate is what I end up with this one, with this fragrance. It's patchouli in the end, but it has gourmand touches. And depending on who the person is, they get a lot of booziness, they get a lot of the cinnamony spicy warmth, or the patchouli stands out, or the tobacco comes through. But it's a fragrance that I'm very, very happy and proud to have collaborated on. It took a while to get to this stage, but after a while, once Julien Rasquinet and I were on the same page, he was kind of giving me some really amazing, mods to work with or to consider for the fragrance. We had multiple different directions we were going with the inspiration, but I personally wanted it to be a patchouli fragrance. At first, it's patchouli because in the end it's inspired by Studio 54, a nightclub. You would go and dance and you would sweat, and then if you're wearing these strong patchouli focused fragrances, they're going to project off of you and they're going to create the sillage, the cloud. And of course, if you get inside that cloud while you're dancing in the nightclub, that person had just, was there and they moved there and you're there now, you're going to smell that fragrance. That's exactly what I wanted with this. And we accomplished it because so many people come and tell me or message me and say, I get so many compliments wearing this fragrance, which is exactly what I wanted. Compliments galore. I got a guy that does he sells cars, and he messaged me recently and said, I wore it for the first time and I got so many compliments from my customers. Just very interesting. But for me, one of the most dramatic compliments was I was in The Hague in the Netherlands, and I was craving, what's the herring, the signature fish sandwich that you find in the Netherlands. And we went to one, and you know how fishy it smells in those little sandwich stands or the herring stands. And there was nobody at the counter. They were all in the back. And then this guy came out, and I guess I was wearing my fragrance strong because it was very dramatic how he reacted about how great I smelled. And we exchanged, Instagram accounts, and he ended up wanting to find out about the fragrance, of course. And I let him know. In fact, I had my mini bottle of 54 with me. He sprayed himself with it. So things like that are happening with this fragrance, which is amazing. Like 2 days in a row, I went to 2 different coffee shops, a Starbucks and a Pete's Coffee. At the Starbucks, I didn't have my bottle with me, and the associate behind the counter was very intrigued with my smell, and she was asking me what I was wearing. And I basically told her, and I, pulled up a photo, told her the notes. I, told her that I'm on YouTube and I speak about fragrances, and this is a fragrance I collaborated on, things like that. And the following day, a very shy barista, a girl, she was kind of very shy about my fragrance because I had oversprayed once again. And she goes, I hope this is not rude, but can you please tell me what perfume you're wearing? And so I had my bottle. I got her to spray herself with it. And of course, things like that are happening with this fragrance, which is quite awesome. But in the end, it's woody because patchouli is a woody fragrance. It also has a spicy effect. Not only is it spicy from the patchouli, but you've got cinnamon. It's warm, spicy. And there's a guy I know who really is sensitive, very sensitive to cinnamon. That's the first thing he said. He said, whoa, this is so cinnamony. It's one of my favorite notes. I love it. You'll get what you're sensitive to stand out a lot. I hear boozy quite a bit. And of course, Pina coladas were popular in the 70s, and of course I'm assuming they were drinking pina coladas in the Studio 54, so we wanted to make sure we added it to this fragrance. And again, it turned out really amazing. People really seem to love it. And if you love patchouli, I know it's a polarizing note, But if you love patchouli and slight boozy gourmand notes together, you're probably going to like this one. So yeah, it does have vanillic touches. It does have milky lactonic touches. It's warm. It's boozy. For sure, you're going to pick up the chocolate. You'll really notice it. On me, it dries down, like I said, to a chocolate milk. And then that tobacco comes through as well. And it's not a very smoky tobacco. It's more of a leafy tobacco. We were talking about that, Julien and I, when we were working on this fragrance. We didn't want, I mean, we tried ashy tobacco. It just wasn't working. The leafy adds a slight dry effect to the mostly creamy lactonic fragrance, and it's more like a grassy leafy effect in the fragrance, but there's a pungency about that tobacco, and you'll notice it. It's mostly in the dry down, and when you smell your skin after it's dried down. To me, it does have a slight funk, which is kind of cool, because there were some versions of this fragrance we were working on with a sweat or, you know, like a body sweat kind of a style or direction. It just didn't come together. And I feel like the tobacco that's in here is giving us that bit of effect, which is kind of cool because it is a bit funky, but I think you have to really focus in and focus on it so you can actually pick that up. For me, that's what I get, but I've studied this fragrance quite a bit. I've worn so much of it. I'm actually on my 3rd full bottle. Yeah, I was in Europe for a while and I was wearing this every day, like 6 weeks straight, because I flew to London. I started wearing the fragrance before I flew there, and then prior to that I had also gone to a wedding in Oregon, so a lot of travels. And part of the compliments I received was at airports, 2 different airports back to back. Well, after I landed and before I flew at another airport, a woman behind me on the escalator going up, she was like, "Ooh, what is that fragrance you're wearing? It smells super amazing." And at that time I had some small decants I had made from a bottle, and I sprayed herself with it. I said, I first asked her if I can spray her. She said yes. She really, really loved it. And then after we landed, a couple behind me as I'm going down, we were going up in the first time, they were like really enamored with the way I smelled, because I did replenish after a while, because those little mini samples, decants that I create are perfect for replenishing. And they were really blown away by the smell. In fact, I actually gave one of my little sample atomizers to some folks along my travels, because people, you know, stop and ask you what you're wearing, and here it is, what's the name, I can give you what's left of it here in this little sample kind of a thing. But yeah, now it's selling at every store that retails or sells Jusbox fragrances or perfumes, so you should be able to find 54. It's also including Twisted Lily, because this is something I received from the distributor of Jusbox perfumes, and their retail door is Twisted Lily. That's their online store. So I had looked on that store and I couldn't find the fragrance there. It makes sense because multiple retailers that carries the brand didn't have this fragrance yet. Finally today on the 20th they have it. So I do have some discount codes. I also have a discount code for Twisted Lily, which I'll add to the info box. But there's a discount code at, I mean, this is depending on where you like to shop. You can use one discount over the other, but ZGO Perfumery, it's the perfume guide that gives you 15% off. Lucky Scent, it's also the perfume guide that gives you 10% off. And then also the Twisted Lily is also a 10% off, and I'll add that in the info box as well. And it depends on where you like to shop. You can use one or the other. I don't have discount codes for any of the other stores, unfortunately, but if you shop there and you have your own discount code or something, or you just rather support that particular retail establishment, then by all means go in and ask, or however you do it. But I think that's pretty much it. Last things I'm going to talk to you about are the events that are happening at the beginning of December. So there's an event at Perfumology on December 5th. That's taking place from 4 to 7 p.m. from what I heard. I hope this doesn't change. This is the info I have received. So 4 to 7 p.m. at Perfumology in Philadelphia on December 5th. I hope to see you guys there. I've never been to Philadelphia before, and it's the first time, so I'll only be there for like 24 hours, if that. So I'm hoping that I can do a little sightseeing before the actual event. And then on the 7th at ScentXPlore, I should be there all day. We are doing a couple of on-stage panel-like things that like we did at Harrods. I will be at both events with Andrea of Jusbox. The sister, Chiara, came to the West Coast. We did Lucky Scent in LA, and we did ZGO Perfumery here in San Francisco. But on the East Coast, we're doing two events with Andrea, the brother-sister team. So those are the two different events. I'm hoping I could see and meet you guys at Perfumology on the 5th, and of course ScentXPlore on the 7th. There's a chance I might come back or come to ScentXPlore the afternoon before. It depends on what time I get back from Philadelphia. So most likely I'll only be there on the 7th, and I'll be on the stage discussing 54, but there might be breaks in between, and I can, come around and look around and see what ScentXPlore is all about. I haven't been to ScentXPlore since 2019, the very first ScentXPlore, so this will be my very first one since then, and I've heard good things about it, so hopefully the event will be great. But either way, guys, 54 is now selling at every retailer in the USA, as today is the official launch date in the USA. Yeah, it's interesting. I thought it was all along selling everywhere, especially after the month-long exclusivity ran out of... It was not even a month at Lucky Scent. It was like a 2-week or 2.5-week exclusivity there. But, yeah, I did not know. And I'm sorry I shared some, wrong information. But this is what I heard from all the different parties that are involved, not only the brand Jusbox, but also the USA distributor. So this I just found out last week that the 20th is the official launch date for Jusbox 54. So I'm hoping you guys get your nose on it, and do come back and let me know. Let me know if you've gotten compliments. Again, this is one of the things I wanted from this fragrance, because I've gone to many nightclubs and danced, never to Studio 54. I was too young for that. But that's the way I was actually, finding out some fragrances. Most of them was in the late 80s and 90s that this happened. It's been a while since I've gone to a nightclub. Do they even exist anymore? Does anybody go dancing? But that was the best way to find or discover fragrances. Somebody, sweating with a perfume on and their perfume projecting, and you're, dancing in their cloud. And it was a great way to discover fragrances. And I hope you guys can discover Studio 54 from Jusbox Perfumes now that it's selling everywhere in the USA. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.